Well, we are back. Joshua Jempel here with Enrico Posamai. If you just joined us, you missed the first part of the action. Proba-V has been successfully separated by Vega. But not to worry, 2 more satellites remain to be sent into orbit. Our second and third passengers, VNRedsat-1 in 7 minutes, and ESTCube-1 in about 10 minutes from now. Enrico, give us a recap of everything that's happened, will you, since 23 hours local time?
Yes, so after liftoff, Vega headed for the North Pole, made half a round on Earth, injected Proba-V into its orbit when it was above Australia. We followed all the activity thanks to the Perth downrange station. A third burn of the Avum slowed down the launcher into a new inclination of the orbit. It's as the launcher was going down a kind of slope to join a lower altitude, the altitude of 680 kilometers for the VNRedsat and ESTCube satellite. The speed will rise until 7.65 kilometers per second as the altitude will diminish with respect to the Proba-V orbit. The next step will be the separation of the Vespa structure
Coming up in 2 seconds.
Yes, in order to free the satellites.
Séparation de la partie supérieure du système de lancement double Vega.
And right on time, coming up is on the Vespa separation.
Yes, and then the Avum stage will maneuver to point correctly the satellite before releasing them.
All right, you can see VNRedsat exposed to the elements now. That's the silver box. We know all this information because we're being tracked by the downrange tracking station in Saskatoon, which acquired the signal about 3 minutes ago. Saskatoon sees separation of the Vespa, which we just saw, and the 4th Avum ignition and extinction, and then the station will also see separation of VNRedsat and ESTCube-1. Now, how does separation happen? We have a clamp band system. Is it like on Ariane 5?
Yes, it's the principle. It's as the Silda one. You know, it's a.
The Silda is the carrying structure that allows Ariane 5 to have a second passenger, like Vespa allows Vega to have another passenger.
Yes, as its name, Vespa, Vega secondary payload structure, and so it allows to bring another mini satellite inside the structure itself. The separation of the Vespa is achieved by means of this clamp band. And it's in order to open the 2-half shell in order to free the satellites which are inside. The band separates the Vespa along an horizontal plane at a mid-level of the cylindrical part.
Well, that's like the Ariane system, roughly. It separates into two halves, I think, as well.
Yes.
The 4th Avum ignition will be burning for another 30 seconds, roughly. And what's going on now, aside from the similarities between the separation systems of the Silda in Ariane and the Vespa for Vega? We're also in sort of a ballistics phase, I guess you could call it, right? Where we have ignition, and then for a period we don't have ignition. Yes. How would you explain that?
But
in between the satellites, we have to maneuver the composite into different orbits, different
altitude and different inclination of these orbits.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
On Ariane 5, we can only aim only one kind of orbit. It's for that reason that on Ariane 5, when you have 2 satellites, they are always both on
geostationary transfer orbit, right? GTO, if you've heard that.
Exactly.
But that's not where we're going tonight. In GTO, we have to go towards the east.
Yeah.
Tonight we go towards the north. We're in the 2nd to the 4th Avum ignition, by the way. So we're in another powered phase. Now for guidance, the Avum is using clusters of thrusters for roll and attitude control. Now that's what the Ariane does, but the Ariane in the Ariane version of the ballistics phase, there's no power. Tonight we have power.
Yes, Avum, it's a reignectable engine, and he has also its attitude and control. It has its control system. You know, we have the principle is the same in Ariane 5 on Vega, but we don't use the
Perte normale de la
same
télémesure
gases.
lanceur
On
par la
Ariane
station
5, we
d'hébergement.
use the gaseous hydrogen for to use for the thruster, and here on Vega for the AVUM, we use only hydrazine propelled system.
All right, we are out of the fourth AVUM stage burn. We have about 2 minutes before separation of VNRedsat. We think we have time for the quiz question, then I'll ask you a little bit about your job. You want to go to the quiz question? You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, see if anybody can get this. Let's play along. If you win, you get a big prize. Concerns the new leadership at Arianespace.
Yes.
Very timely. All right, are you ready out there? See if anyone can get this. It's not really that hard. Arianespace quiz question for Vega flight number 2. How many people have been at the head of Arianespace? There haven't been that many.
No.
Question again. Tonight's quiz question for flight Vega second flight. How many people, men or women, have been at the helm of Arianespace since the company's inception in 1980, and who are they? Think you have an idea of the answer?
I've got a clue.
You've got a clue. Hold on to it. If you do, we'll give you the answer in just a minute. But for now, as we're coming up on VNRedsat separation, in under a minute, again, a moment of concentration and focusing here, even though Proba-V was successfully delivered almost an hour ago now. And many here in Jupiter, including yourself, Enrico, you've been in this sort of situation before, I would say even many times. You've lived through this sort of situation. How would you describe the atmosphere down there with the technical people?
Yes, everybody is very focused on the success of the mission, so every technician and engineer is focused that on every system is working well and ready to correct something that is not working as well or normally.
So, all eyes and ears waiting. We should have confirmation in just a few short seconds of separation of our second passenger for Vietnam.
Séparation VNRedsat 1.
There we are, right on time. You see, pushed away again by the system. And you can hear the applause.
La trajectoire est normale.
Everything is normal. VNRedsat 1's launch comes 1 month after the official announcement in Hanoi of this year, 2013, as the Franco-Vietnamese year. Now, Enrico, give us the descriptions, as you did for Proba-V, of what's going to happen now that she's separated.
Yes, but before that, I want to say that anyway, the TENS this evening will continue until the end of the mission, until the orbitation of the AVUM.
Yes.
And not only after the release of the different satellites. So let's come back to the LEOP of VNRedsat. The spacecraft will deploy its sun panel about 1 hour after the separation, and it will be switched into a sun acquisition mode. You know, once the power generation is okay, the transmitter will be powered on, and then when you will fly over the station of Kiruna, we'll see.
That's in Sweden.
Yes, exactly, and we will see that about 3 hours and a half after the separation. And the day after, the spacecraft will be switched on the normal mode, and all the payload will be powered on. For the following week, the correction maneuver will get the perfect altitude and orbit for the operational activities.
In just a minute, we'll have separation of SQ1. You can see that. That's the tiny little white square on top of what's left of the Vega launcher.
Yeah.
On top of the fourth stage there, weighing 1.3 kilos.
Yes.
Project began, see this little one, project began in 2008. SQ1 developed with the Finnish Meteorological Institute and with the German Space Center, the DLR. Finland, we are told, invented the propulsion system of using electrically charged particles emanating from the sun, which is what SQ1 is going to study. It'll be the first proof of this concept. CubeSats on the first Vega flight last year were the first CubeSats ever to be launched on a European launcher, of course. Vega's first flight launched CubeSats from Italy, France, Spain, Romania, Poland, and Hungary. Romania, Hungary, and Poland were the first satellites ever launched for those countries, like Estonia tonight. And the CubeSats from Spain, France, and Italy, there was one from Spain and 2 from Italy, were the first CubeSats from those countries. Tonight, of course, Estonia, waiting for separation of our final passenger, I would say in about 30 seconds. The CubeSat's interesting because CubeSats for a long time they were very popular in the US and Japan, but not really active in Europe. So Vega was seen as a chance to give Europe an opportunity to catch up.
I think it's a good choice because it allows us to fulfill some very good educational objective for university student.
Get them involved in space affairs, conceiving their own project, building it, led, of course, overseen by ESA.
Yes, and they understand what means develop and test a new technology, some things that after is being built.
So hundreds of students in all involved in these projects. We're waiting for confirmation.
Séparation ESTCube-1.
And we just had it.
Yeah. That's a great success. I'm happy for all this client.
There's the final good news and a lot of applause. Vega delivering her third passenger. Cigars and champagne will be forthcoming as Vega performing flawlessly.
La trajectoire est normale.
ESTCube will unfurl a 10-meter single-strand E-sail. There's some happy people there, or tether, testing, as we mentioned, their new propulsion system. In 5 minutes, the power will be up. They'll have their preliminary system checks on the satellite. In half an hour, the radio antenna will be deployed and communication with Earth can begin. 10 minutes after that, the radio beacon will be activated and we'll have our first message. This is when they will know if the launch has been really successful. In 2 days, the satellite's beacon becomes active to determine the satellite's health. And we get our first camera pictures in about 5 days.
Yeah.
And in about 10 days, beginning of the main mission, which is, of course, tether deployment. The tether will be electrified and measurements will begin. Again, ESTCube-1's mission to experiment for electrical use on future solar sails. And as ESTCube-1 is the first Estonian satellite, the project will be used to put in place the nation's infrastructure for future space projects, as well as to form a generation of space engineers. So you see the smiles, the mood, very buoyant here in Jupiter, all across the Space Center. At all the points and posts where the people are working or following the launcher and their satellites. This is the ELV group. Your compatriots?
Yes, all Italian.
Prime contractor of Vega?
Yes, from Colleferro.
Work is just beginning or will soon be at the different ground stations and the centers around the world where the satellite's first maneuvers are being monitored. We're waiting for the speeches. We'll be hearing from Stéphane Israël and Jean-Yves Le Gall and some others. Did you get the answer to the quiz question while we're waiting for the gentlemen to come out? Answer the quiz question. How many people have led Arianespace?
I think that if you consider also Stéphane Israël, there are 5 people.
You sure about that answer?
Yeah.
5. That's your final answer.
Yes.
You're right. Congratulations. 5 people. Can you name them? Frédéric Dall'Est, the founder.
Yes, it's the first one.
Charles Bigot, Jean-Marie Louton, who came from ESA, Jean-Yves Le Gall, and Stéphane Israël. Well, congratulations. If you got the right answer, give yourselves a round of applause. And Enrico will send you his check for €2, since this is the second Vega flight. €2. All right, well done. We're waiting for the post-launch speeches. We'll be hearing from ESA, Antonio Fabrizi. The gentlemen will be shortly making their way out to the fishbowl. I see Mr. Fabrizi at the podium. He looks like he's ready. The next voice you will hear will be Antonio Fabrizi.
Can you hear?
Of ESA.
So, dear guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Jupiter, in the center of Kourou, but also at ESA Redu Center in Belgium, where I understand that the Minister Kural and other guests are gathered for a second chance to witness the launch tonight. So they have been waiting till now. So beside the satisfaction for what we have all seen, tonight I have also the honor to represent here my boss, the ESA Director General, Jean-Jacques Dordain, who regretfully could not remain with us after postponement of the launch. He left me a page handwritten regarding Vega that would have been his speech last Friday if we were not delayed by the altitude winds. He would have done this in Italian, and I had prepared a translation for him, but I will do it in French to be sure that I keep his spirit. Et un et deux, les deux premiers lancements d'un nouveau lanceur russie, c'est un exploit historique jamais réalisé en Europe jusqu'ici. Vega entre dans l'histoire aujourd'hui après une mission particulièrement complexe. Des lancements réussis ne font pas encore les printemps, mais c'est un bon début, une base solide pour construire un bel avenir pour Vega. Le carnet de commandes de Vega lui garantit déjà 3 ans d'exploitation avec le lancement VERTA, qui embarquent des missions de l'ESA telles que l'AXV, l'ISA Pathfinder et OLUS, ainsi que des missions commerciales comme les 2 satellites Sentinelle de Copernicus et les satellites kazakhs. Reste maintenant à l'industrie de produire et à Arianespace d'y exploiter. Vous avez un bon produit, made in ESA, faites en profiter le monde. Also, these were the words of Jean-Jacques Dordain. But now, let me express also some personal feelings. And my first thought goes to the ESA member states, of course, to the Vega and VERTA program participants, primarily Italy, that with their patience and continuous support have allowed this. And also to the participants to the Proba-V program, primarily Belgium. Second, I want to dedicate my thinking to CNES CSG for keeping this launch base available to us in spite sometimes of adverse natural conditions, providing support day and night during working days, holidays with great commitment. Thank you. Third, the Arianespace team that has inaugurated the commercial exploitation of Vega with VNRedsat and that managed with reassuring experience the operations in Kourou. Number 4, industry. They have built a beautiful product that works perfectly, provides excellent performance, and allows to look ahead with confidence to the future. 5, my team, the ESA team, all the launchers, and also the Proba team, for transforming my team and my dreams, and not only my dreams, but those of ESA, to transform them into reality with competence and passion. And I think these are the characteristics of all our teams. I do not make names, but I have to make one exception for Michel Courtois, who together with the reviewers, with experience and dedication, give confidence to my team. And I know that Jean-Jacques Dordain agrees on me to mention this. I think that with our member states and with all these teams that I mentioned, ideally as a unique team, we have a solid base to build the future of European launchers. Finally, 2 words on the satellite, because this is an ESA mission with the satellite of ESA on board, and I wish to thank also the Proba participants, the team of the Technical Directorate of ESA, and the industry that has built this satellite for the confidence that they have given to Vega, and for developing a satellite that will provide valuable service to Europe. Now, the complete success must be confirmed by the commissioning of the satellite, but already now we can say that the satellite is in good shape, in a perfect orbit, and I think it will have a brilliant future. Last but not least, I'm glad that, like on the occasion of the first Vega launch, we have given the opportunity to a European state, in this case Estonia, to put also its first satellite into orbit. Et bien sûr, merci à tous ceux qui ont été présents ici ce soir et ont partagé avec nous ces moments. Merci. Stéphane Israël, le PDG d'Arianespace.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear customers, dear colleagues, it's late in Kourou, or maybe early in the morning, so you will allow me to say a few words in French. It will be easier for me to express my great satisfaction after this successful launch. C'est avec beaucoup d'émotion que je prends ce soir la parole pour la première fois en tant que président-directeur général d'Arianespace. Comme vous le voyez, avec la réussite exemplaire de Vega, Arianespace poursuit les succès
Arianespace continues its path of successful launches on which my predecessor, Jean-Yves Le Gall, placed it for over 10 years.
L'aventure continue.
The adventure continues. This launch confirms Vega's systems a little over a year after her maiden voyage from the Guiana Space Center here last February. I'd like to thank ELV, Avio, and all the industrial partners who participated in building the launcher, which is today 100% operational, ready to offer the best service to our customers. With 3 operational launchers here at the space base, Arianespace is the only launch services operator capable of putting all types of satellites into all types of orbits. This launch also confirms a success for Europe and shows that the continent can meet a long-term challenge. I'm sure that today's newest success of Vega, which is fruit of a long collective effort, points to a bright future for our new common European projects. I'd like to warmly thank the European Space Agency, the Italian Space Agency, the French National Space Agency, and all the member states that helped finance and develop Vega in the VERTA program. And I'd like to start with Italy because you all know their commitment to Vega. I'm pleased to share the happiness felt by Jean-Jacques Dordain, ESA's Director General, and by Antonio Fabrizi, ESA's Director of Launchers, to whom we owe so much, going back to the very beginnings of this project. To both men, I say bravo for your determination and many thanks. Passengers tonight link Arianespace to missions that serve the Earth and sustainable development. I underscore this important point, which is in the heart of all European Union citizens, because it shows that while technical ambitions involved in our space efforts are constantly being reviewed and renewed, space also serves the general interest. Que ces missions et cette ambition technologique sont d'abord au service de l'intérêt général et des citoyens. Je veux me tourner naturellement vers nos clients, our customers, without whom our launches would have no reason for being. You placed your trust in Arianespace and in Vega, and you did the right thing. I predict many others will follow in your footsteps. Thanks again to ESA, this time for the satellites, Proba-V and ESTCube-1. Thanks to Belgium and to Mr. Philippe Courard, the Belgian Secretary of State for Scientific Policy, for their ongoing commitment to space. We've seen this commitment through Belgium's contribution to Vega and with the Proba-V satellite. Thanks also to Estonia and to Madame Ene Ergma, President of the Estonian Parliament, for their commitment to this Vega mission through their satellite ESTCube-1, the first satellite orbited for Estonia. Thanks to our long-standing partner Astrium and to Vietnam's Academy of Science and Technology for this fine project, which is VNRedsat-1. What better way for Arianespace to honor this Franco-Vietnamese year than by launching this 3rd satellite for the nation? After 2 telecommunication satellites, I'd like to thank Mr. Chau Van Minh, President of the Vietnamese Academy of Science and Technology, for his trust, as well as for his Vice President, Mr. Dinh Quang Nguyen, and the entire Vietnamese delegation, which was here with us in Kourou. And hello to Hanoi, where you're watching this evening, or should I say this morning. Finally, and on a more personal note, for my first launch as Chairman and CEO of Arianespace, I'd like to say a few words to all the men and women in Europe and in French Guiana, who develop, produce, and build our launchers, and especially to the men and women of Arianespace. I appreciate the force of your commitment and your professionalism. Through all of you, I'd like to pay tribute to what I like to call the entire European space ecosystem, the states which finance space policy, the agencies who conceive and develop the missions, the space industry, which is always at the cutting edge of world excellence. Without this active community, which is both public and private, driven by states and coordinated on a European-wide scale, Arianespace would not be able to offer its customers the level of high-quality service that we've come to know. Our customers are our raison d'être, and I'd like to give them the floor now. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, dear all, I will make the speech in English for our Vietnamese community. It was important, it was a challenge, and you made it, we made it, and I would like to, on behalf of Astrium, to congratulate all the people, all men and women, who have participated and allowed this big success. Astrium do recognize the level of this challenge. It was a second flight of a new launcher, and it is a success. It was a complex mission, and with multiple payload configuration. It was the finalization, the tuning of a qualification of a launcher system, and it was a transition to its commercial life. So, thank you for all. Thank you first to the VAST, the Vietnam Academy of Science and Technology. Thank you to the Vietnam government for the trust awarded to Astrium and Arianespace to select the Vega launcher. Thank you to Arianespace and ESA for this smooth ride to orbit for VNRedsat-1. Thank you to CNES for global support in CSG and for its partnership, in particular on Myriad for this program. Thank you to the French authorities represented by the Ministry of Finance and whose representatives in Paris and Hanoi have allowed the financial engineering of this program. The last but not least, of course, is thank you to all Astrium teams and all industrial teams for their efficiency and sometimes for necessary patience they had. This success shows the way for the next one, which is the third flight of Vega, on which Astrium has already put a satellite, a new commercial satellite. Astrium is always looking for more challenges and progress and innovation. Thanks again to all the community of professionals who has worked hard for this achievement. I wish a very good start to VNRedsat-1 satellite, of course, whose first signals will be catch by the VAST team and Astrium team in the coming hours. I wish also a good start for our payload partners during this launch campaign. That means Proba-V and ESTCube. And in conclusion, I would like to say for the Vietnamese that we are very proud to participate at the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the exchanges between France and Vietnam. And this event is a big event for that, and we are very proud of that. Thank you.
Bien, je voudrais à mon tour, en dépit de l'heure tardive ou matinale, comme vous voudrez, dire quelques mots. Donc ce lancement est le premier effectué depuis que j'ai changé de casquette, mais vous le savez, j'ai de multiples casquettes, donc depuis que j'ai été nommé président du CNES le 3 avril, et je suis particulièrement heureux. Heureux d'abord parce que ce deuxième succès de Vega est un succès de plus à mettre à l'actif des équipes de l'Agence spatiale européenne, d'Arianespace, de l'industrie et bien sûr du CNES, au Centre spatial guyanais à la direction des lanceurs, qui ont une nouvelle fois démontré qu'elles savent travailler ensemble. Et vous faites le bonheur de nos clients qui, à l'évidence, ont l'air ravis. Si j'en juge, je crois que ce sont nos amis italiens tout à l'heure qui l'ont démontré de façon très visible. Heureux aussi parce qu'avec Ariane 5 qui fait la course en tête des lanceurs lourds, avec Soyouz qui a déjà 4 lancements à son actif au Centre spatial guyanais, et maintenant avec Vega qui est définitivement et pleinement opérationnel, nous avons la capacité de lancer tous les types de satellites vers toutes les orbites. Et je peux vous dire que cela va nous être particulièrement précieux pour notre plan de charge dans les années à venir. Et heureux également parce que le parfait fonctionnement de Vega démontre la maîtrise des solutions innovantes utilisées sur ce lanceur, en particulier pour le premier étage à propergol solide P80, solutions qui seront à la base du développement de la prochaine génération des lanceurs européens. Et vous le voyez, nous préparons déjà la relève. Alors je voudrais féliciter tous ceux, et ils sont très nombreux, auxquels nous devons ce nouveau succès, en Europe et en particulier en Italie. Et là, je vais vous demander d'applaudir, parce qu'il faut applaudir pour Frascati, il faut applaudir pour Colleferro, il faut applaudir pour le boulevard ou l'avenue, je ne sais pas, Doménil. Et puis bien sûr, il faut aussi applaudir pour Évry. Et en Guyane, je crois qu'il faut aussi remercier toutes les équipes qui ont été impliquées dans la campagne de lancement et qui ont fait un travail remarquable. Et puis, il faut aussi dire bravo aux spécialistes de la météo. Grâce à eux, nous avons pu enfin décoller ce soir. Et puis, grâce à eux, et c'est peut-être le plus important, on va dire que dorénavant, le CNES fait la pluie et le beau temps. Merci et à bientôt. Bonsoir.
Bien, donc pour conclure cette soirée, donc au-delà des remerciements renouvelés, juste pour vous dire que s'agissant de Vega, donc 2 lancements sont prévus l'année prochaine, notamment DZZ HR avec Astrium et le Kazakhstan. Et ici au CSG, nous nous retrouverons le 5 juin, à nouveau en compagnie de l'ESA, pour le lancement d'une Ariane 5 modèle ES avec à son bord le 4e cargo ATV nommé Albert Einstein.
The 4th ATV cargo vessel called Albert Einstein.
Ce lancement ne peut être qu'ingénieux et particulièrement réussi. Puis ensuite, nous retrouverons fin juin pour les satellites O3B. Je suis allé les voir aujourd'hui, donc les 4 sont en cours de préparation. Et puis,
Soyuz,
plus tard en
of
juillet,
O3B, and then later in July,
Ariane 5,
on Ariane
AlphaSat et INSAT 3.
5, Flight
Voilà,
214,
donc rendez-vous
for another 2
le 5
satellites.
juin pour
So
la
see you
TV.
again on June
Bonne
5th.
soirée à
I wish
tous
you all
et à très bientôt.
a very
Merci.
pleasant good evening. All right, we're over those pleasant words. We're going to have a last launch replay to say goodbye. Any last words?
I would like to congratulate all this big team made of launcher people and satellite people.
I think that's
Bravissimi.
enough. I think that's enough. Congratulations to everybody. The next launch, another milestone, as you heard Stefan Israel say, the 4th ATV bringing supplies to the International Space Station on June 5th. We'll be here. We hope you will be too. Until then, on behalf of everybody here at the space station, Joshua Jampa with my friend Enrico Postamai of ESA, saying thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Bye.